On today's video, we're out here at the deer camp for a few days. My son Nick and I brought the boat, so we're gonna do a little fishing. Our buddy Scott is gonna join us for one day. We got a few jobs that we need to get done. I'm sure we'll get the sauna lit. And Scott and I are gonna go over our top 5 music albums if you only had those 5 albums to listen to for the rest of your life.
I mean, who doesn't love Kiss Alive, right?
Hey there, outdoor YouTubers. Well, we're out at the deer camp for a few days. Thought you might want to come along and see how it goes. I don't think I buy it for hunting property at that price.
This is going to be a three-man job.
Yeah, I would say be careful. Let me help you with that.
We got 2 jugs in the cellar there. We had lots of water all this time too.
Okay. That one can go inside. Okay. What's that? Yeah, we caught some bluegills, what, maybe 2 different times we fished, eh, Nick?
Yeah.
We caught them, yeah. And we didn't keep any, but the one day we could have. We wound up, I think we had like 6.
Yeah.
And they were okay. Like you could have kept them if we thought we were going to get 6 or whatever. We could have, but
the fishing had been good before, so every single
Right.
one, it's like, yeah, this is probably the last one we'll catch.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
They did a survey on that lake recently. I don't know if they shocked it or netted it or anything, but they had one of these biologists on the radio on that Adam Carpenter show, and he said the size of the pike was very low, but he said the density of bass was very high. They actually said they're missing the larger bass, but there was a lot of bass in Shag Lake, and he thought that was.
You don't even have... Thank God they wasted a bunch of money to find that out.
Right, I know. Right.
Yeah. What a dandy. Wow. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they are. It's
Hit the button, I see the crosshairs come up and then it goes over.
I don't know, Nick. I'm gonna try casting 2 of these rips because it's 15 feet here. So we'll see where that takes us.
I think it's one that's is all spun up and around and got into some weeds and gotta be careful. Yeah. Yeah. You might have to perform surgery on his eye.
I had that one camera on the camp road since deer season. No bear pictures, no wolf pictures, just a few coyotes. Yeah, coyotes and people on snowmobiles, 4-wheelers, side-by-sides. Yeah, I don't know, it must be, eh?
Sits down there.
No. I don't think it is. Okay, stop there. Oh no.
Oh, that's the worst possible scenario other than getting a hook in your thumb.
Oh no. Yes, it is better than a hook in the thumb. We'll keep that in mind. Well, let me see that dude. Jeez. I actually have that's a 20-pound test floral leader too. He must have got a gill on it or something.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing all those eagles. I know when I was really young, it was not that common to see eagles, even here in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. But nowadays, it seems like I'll see eagles on just about every lake that I fish, and oftentimes just see them around the house too. Yeah, so Scott, you got some of your smoked salmon, hey, that you did?
Red salmon from Kenai River.
Yeah, that's I know that was good stuff last fall when we were out here deer season. That's for sure.
Yep, new batch. Came all good again.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, just a little snack. We got off the lake. It's probably a little too late for a full-blown brat or hamburger meal, so we'll just snack a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be our late supper. How is it, Nick?
It's really good.
Yeah, cool. Okay, guys, so me and Scott here, we're out at deer camp, and we kind of came up with this, I don't know, little game / social experiment. It's kind of like, if you guys have ever played that deal where you pose the question to somebody, what if you were stranded on a deserted island and maybe indefinitely, maybe forever, what book would you have? Or what movie would you want to have if you could only have one? Or what 5 movies? Or what meal would you eat if you could only eat one meal every day? Whatever. It's kind of a fun little... Yeah, that'd be, that or pizza maybe.
Yeah. 2 answers
So-
to that question.
Yeah. So, we're out at the camp and we were kind of thinking, well, maybe we could do something like that. It might be kind of fun. But what we decided is, what if you were stranded at deer camp, possibly indefinitely, maybe forever, maybe it's the end of times or whatever, Mad Max times. What 5 music records, albums, CDs, whatever you want to call them, would you want to have? If that was like the only 5 albums, records, CDs that you could listen to possibly for the rest of your life, what would they be? And then we did kind of add one kind of a wild card. The criteria for the 5 is standard length records, like studio records, not compilations, not greatest hits, not live double albums. Those 5 are just like studio records, standard length. But we do have the one wild card where you can add a compilation, a greatest hits, live. So, me and Scott are both into music. Scott is actually a pretty talented musician. He, if you follow the channel, in every video I do, I give credit to Big Cat Daddy Walleye for the music in my videos. And that is actually Scott. He was part of a band called Big Cat Daddy Walleye, kind of a bar band with our friend Al. And so all the music in my videos is Scott. So Scott's very much into music, and so am I, but I don't play anything. I just like to listen to it.
Listen to it.
Yeah. So we're always talking about music and this and that. So we thought it'd be kind of a fun little experiment. So we came up with 5 plus 1 plus that wild card, and we'll
maybe a few that didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah,
Could have made the cut.
Yeah, we'll talk
but
about some
didn't.
honorable mentions also.
Yeah.
And we both kind of talked about the criteria, and we both agreed it's not our 5 favorite albums, right? It's like
It's 5 of our favorite albums.
right. Definitely, they are some of our more favorite ones.
But you can't listen. I couldn't listen to 5 AC/DC albums again and again and again.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I know guys who could. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought about, variety. That was kind of a big factor. Of course, these albums, you want them to be pretty darn good start to finish because you only get so much.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of another criteria. They got to be pretty darn good start to finish. Anyways, so, we're both kind of products of the 80s, right? So that's going to have some influence. I guess we grew up in the 70s a little bit too, but anyways, so we'll get started. I'll come up with my first one. We're going to just talk about the 5 studio albums. This is what you're possibly stuck with the rest of your life. This is all you can listen to. This is what they'd be. And my first one, it was a pretty easy pick for me. It was the Cars, their debut album, The Cars. I had it on cassette as a kid. Fantastic, start to finish. Everybody knows Just What I Needed. That's popped up in a lot of commercials through the years. Of course, it was a very popular song. Yeah, Good Times Roll was a popular hit. And Best Friend's Girl is definitely my favorite song off that album, and maybe one of my favorite songs ever. But the whole thing's cool, start to finish. There was that moving in stereo. You remember how they traveled through the speakers? Yep. That was a big deal to me back then as a kid.
Yeah.
So that was, and these are in no particular order, but that's one of my 5 Cars, the Cars.
Maybe the best syncopated clapping in any song you've ever heard.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. Best Friend's Girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one. Yeah. I could go with that. Some of these I think of as cassettes. Some of them I think of as albums. My first one is an record album, 33 1/3 long playing. Be Eagles' Hotel California. Hotel California, New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane, Victim of Love. Was the first album with Joe Walsh. He does a vocal song on there called Pretty Maids All in a Row. Really love that tune, which is a deep cut off of that. But yeah, good album, start to finish. Yeah, hard to beat.
Yeah, and I think that's like up there in like one of the best selling records ever. I think.
Well,
top 100 or something like that.
Yeah, probably their biggest album. I don't think unquestionably their biggest album.
Yeah, and I think everybody knows Hotel California, the song,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1976.
That's when it was,
Frame
right?
of reference. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I think that Cars debut album was 78 or maybe 79, something like that.
yeah.
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 Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, number 2 for me, again in no particular order, was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes. Again, yeah, great start to finish. Refugee, Don't Do Me Like That. I got a few notes here just so I don't forget, but I really liked even Losers, those, not necessarily the more popular song off it, and Here Comes My Girl. I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
I really
it's a great
liked.
tune.
Yeah, and that one I had a record, an album record, and so I couldn't really like bring it around in a cassette boombox, but I would put a speaker from my bedroom in the window, so if I was outside, I could listen to it, working on pedal bikes or whatever I was doing at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my second one. Yep.
Yeah. Great tune. Great. Yep. I'll jump to a cassette that I wore out probably when I was in junior high. Judas Priest, British Steel. We got to have some variety, so there's my metal album right there. Breaking the Laws. What more do you want? But Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, Living After Midnight. Just, yeah. I would put that thing in my Walkman, and then I'd go and mow lawns that I had to mow for different neighbors, and I could get about 2 times through before the batteries would be dead. But I did that for an entire summer, just listen to British Steel. So that has to be my metal album.
Yep. That one, I wouldn't have guessed that one from you. That was
No,
a
probably
surprise.
not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, my third one is Fleetwood Mac Rumors. And that's going pretty back far into my history, just, being on Earth and listening to music. The funny thing about that was I was turned on to that from my dad. My dad had
Remember
this on
that story?
cassette.
That's the one I guessed.
Right, yeah. I thought
'cause
I was
remember
going to
that story.
surprise Scott with that, but I didn't.
No.
So that was, my dad always had that in the vehicles he had on cassette. And when we were traveling, going on vacations, anytime we had to drive anywhere and we'd listen to music, I heard a lot of, we wore that cassette out between myself and my dad, and then I think I probably, once I got to driving, I might have pilfered it from him at some point in time. And but that one is similar to Hotel California in that it's one of the best-selling records ever,
Yeah, I think a lot of people could say I could take that one and listen to that one. Again,
Yeah,
again and again.
or, Go Your Own Way, Don't Stop, Dreams. And one song that really I don't believe got any kind of airplay at the time that I really liked was, and it was Christy McVie sung it. A lot of times I'd just rather have Stevie Nicks sing everything, but she sung this and it was Songbird. And it's a very soft song, but it's very cool and yeah. So my dad kind of turned me on to that, and I really did like that Fleetwood Mac Rumors growing up,
Interesting.
and still to this day.
Yeah, I don't know that I can't hear that song in my
Yeah, like I
mind.
say, it really didn't get airplay. It wasn't one of the singles released from it or anything.
One
But
of
it
the
was
deeper
pretty.
cuts on there.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh. Excellent. Yeah, my third one is going to be an AC/DC album, Dirty Deeds, my favorite one. I like the Bon Scott era AC/DC better than the Brian Johnson era. They're both great. One's slightly greater, in my opinion. But, Dirty Deeds, also from 1976. Dirty Deeds, Love at First Feel, Big Balls, and then Ride On. Great tunes. If I had to really crank it up to a workout or something, that's going to be the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that gets you going. Makes you want to fight somebody.
Well, when I was lifting weights back in my younger days, me and my lifting partner had kind of a rule that we could listen to anything as long as it was AC/DC.
Yeah.
And 3 out of 5 times it was Dirty Deeds. So
Yeah, I can see where that is music to pump iron to.
yeah, it's a good. Yeah, I mean, if you just use that as a barometer of your workout, that's pretty. You got to really work.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my next one is Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. It's another one of those ones. It's really, really good, start to finish. There was 7 singles released from Born in the USA. And I remember reading an article years ago, long before the internet. I was actually reading something out of a magazine or something that said the record producers like, okay, after like single 7, whichever one it was, they were like, okay, Bruce, we're gonna release this one in a single now too. And he's just like, just stop. This is enough. And I always thought that was kind of funny to put an end to it like that. But Glory Days, Dancing in the Dark, which always kind of sticks in my mind. Courtney Cox jumping up on stage with Bruce Springsteen in the video. That was kind of, I guess, her start in the Hollywood scene or whatever. But again, just really good stuff, start to finish. Strangely enough, maybe actual Born in the USA, the song, might be the worst track on that.
I was just going to say that. I would make the argument for me that it's the worst song on the album.
Yeah. And he recorded that originally. It was going to be back for his Nebraska album a few years prior, and it was a very dark, because the lyrics are very dark.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that, but it's a very dark song. And he originally recorded it that way, and that version is way better, in my opinion. But I'm sure some record producers told him to pop it up a little bit and
make some money.
Yeah, make some money, make people think that this is just a rah, we love the USA kind of song, which it's not at all. But yeah, start to finish, great. I had it on cassette, and it was something I did a lot of riding around and listening to.
My favorite tune on the album is Downbound Train.
Yeah. It's very good. Mm-hmm.
Love
the
it.
whole thing.
Love it. Yep. We're going to go from that to my favorite album of all time. If I had to pick one, this is the one I'm going to pick, and that's Scarecrow, John Mellencamp, 1985. And I remember having listened to the one with Jack and Diane and Hurt So Good.
Yeah.
American Fool.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he had and that had the Walls Crumbling Down and, a couple other tunes off of that. And I was like, yeah, this is good. And then I remember a friend of mine going over to his house one day and he's like, hey, have you heard this? And I go, what are you talking about? He's like, it's a new Mellencamp album. And I went, no. So he put it on. I listened to it. I was like, whoa, this is good. Start to finish. Slightly dated because of the 80s drum sounds and, a few things like that if you're really picky. But, Rain on the Scarecrow, Into Small Town, Lonely All Night, Rumble Seat, Rockin' in the USA, other deeper cuts beyond that. My number one.
Yeah, I really liked Rumble Seat. That wasn't super popular, but
that was like the fourth or whatever single off of that or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that tune a lot too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, I can't argue with any of those. My fifth one, and I told myself not to go this route when I started this mental exercise, but I couldn't help myself. I told myself, don't have 2 albums from the same artist, but I had to be true to myself. And this one is another Bruce Springsteen, and it's Tunnel of Love. And I know we talked about the variety. Well, there's a crap ton of variety in Tunnel of Love. Mm-hmm. So it kind of helped with that. Again, really awesome, start to finish. Ain't Got You, All That Heaven Will Allow, Brilliant Disguise, I think, was one of the more popular ones. Tunnel of Love was one of the more popular ones. My absolute favorite, and it's maybe one of my favorite songs ever, is Tougher Than the Rest.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Best song
and
on the album.
it might, to me, it's like one of the best songs ever. And a lot of people might agree. The people that have covered that, you know, Chris Ledoux, Sean Colvin, Travis Tritt, they've all done covers of that. Very cool song. So yeah, that I had to include that. Obviously, you can tell I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Musically, politically, not so much. Musically, yeah, I can separate the two.
I just got done saying that Mellencamp's album was my favorite of all time. That was the Mellencamp of '85, not now. So
Sure, yeah.
whatever, you know.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my 5 straight up studio
Cool,
albums.
cool. You know, I got a couple that didn't make the cut for me before I picked this last one. I was a little torn because I wanted to have some variety. And, you know, like I left out Boston's original album. I left out some ZZ Top, early ZZ Top that I really like. And I went with the Beastie Boys' License to Ill. What are you going to do, you know?
Yeah,
I still listen to it to this day, and I laugh and I rhyme with it, and I, you know, it just it hit me at a time when I was just finishing up high school. I was like, yep, okay, still got it, still listen to it, would listen to it if I was deserted at deer camp for an entire year. So
yeah, no,
Mike D and Ad Rock and MCA.
Yeah, no, it is very good, start to finish. Very different. You know, that was different for me. I remember when it came out, it was it was not really quite what I listened to, but like
No,
we had
me
talked
either.
a little bit. Some of the songs are very much just a rock and roll song.
Yeah.
Right. You know, You Gotta Fight
they were
and
kind of
No
bridging
Sleep Till
the gap
Brooklyn.
and
Yeah.
kinda, and none of their other albums, although I like a lot of their stuff after that, none of it is like that. They evolved, you know, beyond that original rap sound, and yeah, it's. I wish Sabotage was on that album. That's the only thing I wish.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of the best videos ever. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's a good one.
Yep.
So, okay, so that brings us to kind of our wild card. We're allowed to pick a compilation or a live album or
Yeah.
something to that sort. So
Yep.
I had to go with Cheap Trick, and it's actually Cheap Trick The Essentials. They have like a lot of artists from back in the 80s and stuff. They have about 7 different greatest hits albums, because I think when things start
None of
going
them
to
have all of the greatest hits.
right, no,
Yeah.
they don't.
Right.
And I think it was a very good marketing ploy for a lot of those bands back then to go, well, hey, let's come out with a CD now, because nobody's got CD, or you know, all of our stuff people bought on cassette or albums. If we come out with a greatest hits on a CD, all our old fans are going to scarf it up, and I'm one of those old fans that scarfed a lot of those things up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you
Absolutely.
know, and this Essentials one, you know, of course it has "I Want You to Want Me," and it has "Ain't That a Shame," and they were the live versions from that at Budokan concert, you know, which was very close to making my list as that wild card, because that is a live album, so it is a compilation of better hits from them at the time.
Yeah.
So that almost made it, but
Yeah.
but the Essentials kind of met that by having those on there. Of course, Surrender is awesome. You know, growing up, I had a lot of their albums on cassette and you know, records. I'm kind of looking through my list. Yeah, I had At Budokan, Dream Police, Heaven Tonight, In Color. I had all those, and I also had All Shook Up, which, strangely enough, I actually saw them in concert during the All Shook Up tour. And one of the very few concerts I went to. It was the summer before I went to 8th grade, I think. My parents let me go to this concert. And this kind of funny thing. I remember I'm watching them, and I was a big fan, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, I don't know that. I don't think that's Tom Peterson up there. You know, I'm like, he looks different to me. Kind of had the same hair, and he's playing bass with this. And I didn't really know, you know, you got to remember, this was before the internet, you know. I mean, if you weren't like reading Rolling Stone or something, how would you know what's going on with anything? And I didn't really know. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't really look like him, whatever. And so after the concert, we're kind of milling through where they're selling T-shirts and stuff. And they got this, you know, all shook up Cheap Trick T-shirt that you can buy. And it's got them guys on the T-shirt. And you can see where they like erased Tom Peterson's face and they put like a Photoshop face of somebody else on the T-shirt.
Pre-Photoshop.
Yeah, it was, you know, pre-computer and stuff. Who knows how. They probably did it with one of those, you know, T-shirt machines or something. They probably had to take a little picture of their new bassist and put it on.
Shrink it in there and make it
So,
fit.
but at least that confirmed in my mind, I was right. It was not Tom Peterson playing bass. And, you know, like many, many years later, I wound up kind of looking up why. I really didn't know why. He did rejoin the band later on, but turns out he had some different artistic views, and he actually quit the band.
Happens.
They recorded All Shook Up, and then he quit. So he wasn't there for him to go on tour. So I thought that was kind of weird. And, you know, like I said, I had a lot of these Cheap Trick albums. I was a big fan. As a young kid, it was like awesome to see like, oh, look at like that In Color and Heaven Tonight would have Tom Peterson and Robin Zander on the cover, right? And then you had to flip it over
To see the nerdy guys.
to see, you know, Rick Nelson, the nerd, and then Bunny Carlos, the accountant, on there. I
always thought of him as more of a used car salesman.
Or that.
Like he'd show up at the gig after selling a few cars and take his coat off and roll up his sleeves and light a smoke and just pulling it out.
I always kind of thought of it like if like a young Cheap Trick, like when they were teenagers and like they maybe started a garage band, but they didn't have a drummer, so they had to get somebody's dad to play the drums for the birthday party.
They needed somebody who could buy beer for
right,
them.
or they had a buyer. Yeah, so it's like, hey, that Bun Carlos guy down the street, he plays drums. Let's see if he wants to play in our garage band. You know, that's...
Turns out he was fantastic.
Yeah.
I would have guessed by looking at him.
Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, kind of little interesting, little gimmicky things or whatever. But and then, you know, I was so into him as a young person, as a young kid, that I had my grandmother knit me one of these Cheap Trick, like Rick Nielsen sweaters. Yeah. So voila, here is my Cheap Trick Rick Nielsen sweater that my grandmother knitted for me. I think I was probably in 7th grade maybe when she did this.
Yeah, fits the same. You wouldn't know.
Perfect, huh?
Yeah, 40 years ago, last month, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But that was I think she gave it to me like for Christmas or my birthday, you know. So I was very much appreciated
Outrageous. Outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'd wear it to school, you know, and stuff.
And you wouldn't even get teased.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could wear a homemade V-neck Cheap Trick sweater to junior high and not get teased.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And who can forget the charisma of Robin Zander? Exactly. I want you to want me.
Exactly.
The Dream Police. Da-ba-da-da-da-da.
Anybody that knows what Scott's quoting, leave some comments below.
If you know, you know. Yep. So I went through. This was a toughie for me because I had a few different things. The first thing that went through my mind was, you know, maybe I need Kiss Alive. Mm-hmm. I mean, who doesn't love Kiss Alive, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't make the cut. Mm. Yeah. I thought, well, maybe I need one better. Maybe I need Kiss Alive 2. You know? Mm-hmm. It's just one better than Kiss Alive. No, didn't make the cut. And I thought, well, do I need Leonard Skinner one more from the road? And it almost made the cut, but it doesn't have that smell. And that's my favorite Skinner tune.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too.
Couldn't do it, So ultimately, I went with Tom Petty's greatest hits. My favorite artist of all time. Got all his albums, love them all, but not any one of them has all of the tunes that I want on it. This has got American Girl, it's got Breakdown, it's got Listen to Her Heart, it's got Refugee, Don't Do Me Like That, Here Comes My Girl, The Waiting, you got Lucky, all the way up to like Mary Jane's Last Dance, I think. So what doesn't it have? Well, a tune called Change of Heart. You need to work around that, It doesn't have Rebels, the Southern Accents album. Doesn't have his duet with Stevie Nicks, Insider. You gotta make do, But that's one that I would listen to again and again and again from start to finish. Absolutely. I'll tell you what else didn't make the cut. Gord's Gold didn't make the cut. It almost did. I mean, for sake of having a little of everything, I can listen to Gordon Lightfoot, Early Morning Rain, Cotton Jenny, all kinds of good folk music that I grew up listening to. But now it's Tom Petty greatest hits.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah. No, there's no arguing with that. I mean, obviously I had a Tom Petty on my list of 5, so I'm a big fan too.
Yep.
It's kind of a fun experiment.
Yeah.
To see what a person would go with. And of course, any of you guys out there, leave some comments. What's your 5, stranded wherever, deer camp, deserted island, wherever. What would your 5 plus that wild card? What would it be for you? I'd be curious to hear some feedback from you guys. Yeah, good stuff. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I most of what you picked, I kind of expected.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. We've been doing a lot of stuff together and talking about music for a long time, so we got a little.
We know what each
feel.
other likes generally.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah,
a lot of common stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys. Like I say, let me hear about your top 5 plus wild card. Thanks, guys. So, what do we got going here, Scott?
Well, we're trying not to burn our sauna down.
Oh, that seems like a good idea.
Yep. Yeah, the door kind of doesn't want to Yeah, there's a little slop in the hinges, and there has to be because the door is a little kittywampus. And so, it just doesn't want to in the notch very good, so I got to take a little bit of material off of this and off of the notch so it'll sit in there when you shut it a little better and not pop open if it shuts up a little bit tighter. Mm-hmm.
Got this here.
The real custom thing about this stove is the hinges, 16 penny nails.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, easy on and off then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and no, I mean, we tried to have pins in it and everything. The problem is everything's just kittywampus, so it doesn't, if that's good and snug, then it really doesn't want to shut tight.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think you got her going there.
Yeah,
it's
it's still, if you just shut it and it leans a little too far this way, it doesn't want to purchase quite as good. I mean, that's way better than it was, But if you pull it this way a little, then it really catches very well, So kind of a shut and a little pull that way will do her.
Yeah. Yeah, open that up. Let me see that. Yeah, like right there, you just were grinding on that and gave it more of a notch. Hey?
Yeah, I gave it more of a notch, but it's still got more of a bend to it. I want it to be more of a hard notch. And I don't have a file that'll fit in there other than this old chainsaw file. And it worked. I got it down there, but it still gives it kind of a rounded profile.
Sure.
So I want to get in there and square it off a little bit better.
Yeah.
So when that gets in, it just kind of locks in there. So,
Yeah.
but that's 100 times better than it was.
Yeah, no, I think we're doing good.
Yeah. So next time I'll make sure I got a file that's got a cutting edge to it.
Okay, so we were filing on that sauna door, and we didn't quite have the right file, or so we thought. And then we're like, hey, everybody check their Leathermans and see what kind of file you might have on there, because we were looking for kind of like a squared edge to the file. And so yeah, so I checked two of mine. I do have a file on this one, but it doesn't have an edge.
Yeah.
But then what brand do you got
I
there?
got a SOG.
A SOG, and it is
Yeah.
it does have the corrugated
Good.
edges or
Yeah,
file edge to it.
Yeah, it's got a rough side and a smooth side, and it's got a real good sharp edge
that
to it.
edge,
So I
yeah.
can get right in there and kind of square this off.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can.
So that's just kind of an ode to the multi-tool, you know.
Sometimes nothing else will do, right?
Yeah, you're out at camp. You're always limited somewhat by what tools you have, but sometimes the multi-tool does the job.
It's the only tool you need. You want to rebuild a carburetor? Use a Leatherman.
Yeah, there we go. So now we're getting that squared off edge. Like you guys saw a little bit ago, this guy was trying to get it with that chainsaw chain sharpening file. It was kind of round and it wasn't really quite doing it. But
That's way better.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Give her one of them.
pull it back a
really.
little.
Yeah. Slide her in, pull her this way, and it locks her in really good and tight.
All
I
right.
think that's fixed.
Yeah. All right. All right. Very good. So I brought out new ketchup and mustard, and I always like to put the date on it. Sometimes ketchup and mustard can sit out here at the camp for a long time, and I don't know. I always like to kind of start off the summer with fresh ketchup and mustard. It sits out here, it freezes, thaws. In fact, Scott was the first one to come out here to the camp this spring, and he said one of the ketchup bottles had kind of exploded a little bit around the base here. It was tipped upside down, you know, or I guess with these kind that's actually right side up. But so some ketchup had kind of spilled over onto the table when he got here first time this spring. So I don't know. Sometimes they say that freezing and thawing of stuff kind of grabs micro plastics off the containers. I don't know if it's true or not, but we're going fresh ketchup and mustard, and that's why I throw a year date on it so we know when it's from. I'm gonna eat my hot Rebel just like I would a fine steak.
Yeah.
Except for I probably don't put spicy brown mustard on a fine steak.
Probably not.
Oh yeah.
Gives it that extra grill flavor.
Yep. And that's the first cook job on the new grill. Yeah, got a new grill out here at the camp, the Savor Pro. And I mentioned this in another video, but the Savor Pro is like a professional grill built to lock in the savory flavors of whatever you're cooking.
Okay.
Yeah. $133 after rebate at Menards. Yeah.
Hey, it's Alicia. If you're looking for a taste of history mixed with great food, come to Mount Shasta Restaurant in Michigan.
Okay. Yay.
Well, so far, it's more eventful than yesterday.
Yeah. Yay. Here you go, Nick. Whew, you tried to inhale it.
Yeah.
Well, we just got to do a little dentistry.
I don't know, I guess none of the fish were happy with the cold water yesterday.
Yeah. And we'll make sure and take this out.
Yeah.
Yee. Another pike.
Do you want me to like just set this somewhere here for now?
Nah, you can throw it to me or whatever.
Just hand it to you. Never know with this wind.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It could be gone.
Yeah.
Or I go to catch it and it goes vunk.
Yeah. Want me to reel that in?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what it was?
No. It was a walleye.
Yeah. It was huge, just really tired, so it wasn't fighting more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pike, but it's not a dink. I'll get him.
Okay. From my experience, I don't really like having pike in nets,
No, I know it's horrid.
usually.
This one got some marks on his side. Show you. Some marks on the side. All right. Well, I guess they're getting bigger. There you go.
Is that?
I'm just reeling this one out of the way.
God.
Okay.
Careful.
Yeah. Right. It's a pretty decent one, but. All right, you might have to reel that other one in. We're in a bunch of shallow weeds and I'm
Okay.
out of control. Yikes. Feisty.
Yeah.
But whew. I got all wet.
Yeah.
But yeah, this bait like this, you know, even a shallow runner like this, we're just trying to stay on the top of the weeds, and the weeds come up pretty high, so you really can't let out too much line, otherwise you're right down in the weeds. But if you don't let out a little bit more line, the bait is so close to the boat, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where that planer board is pretty handy. We were doing a lot of casting and we were doing a lot of trolling both, and at times utilizing the planer boards. But even though the planer board fishing wasn't our main focus, it definitely helped us put a few more fish in the boat. So I did a full review video a couple years ago on these yellowbird planers, and if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link below.
All the way, because I don't think that'd be necessary.
Let's see. Scott's repair job. Seems to be really working. And how's the sauna when you checked it?
Good.
Yeah.
Quite hot.
Okay. Yeah, they're probably going in a little bit. It will be good to get bug spray and sunscreen rinsed off.
Yeah.
And it was a little hot earlier today, so some sweat too. Mm-hmm. What? How's that door working after Scott's repair?
Much better.
Yeah. Seems like it's gonna stay shut when it needs to stay shut, or what?
Yeah. It's not like I can easily just pull it open,
Yeah.
give it a little tug, and it'll stay closed.
Yeah.
But you just lift it a little.
Yeah, that's good. You see, see what I got for out here?
Nice.
You know, for like, you know, wearing in the sauna and stuff.
Yeah.
These are, well, they're Packer Crocs, but they're not really Crocs. They're like Walmart's version of Crocs.
Sure.
I think they're called Crooks.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. No. I got these. I'm going to leave these out here. They'll be my camp sauna shoes.
Nice.
Good already. Feel like a layer of slime is coming off already before I even get any soap. Woo! Oh yeah. Now, I know you longtime viewers have heard me say this before, but remember, OnlyFans content like this is always free at Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Awesome.
Recorded service calls for canines and rescues, and with each pairing, 2 lives are changed forever. Be rescued.
Yeah, you kind of missed it when you're out in the sauna. They had a commercial for a prescription drug, and one of the benefits of it is it helps reduce death.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
sounds pretty good.
yeah, that is a good one, you know. Helps to reduce death and hospitalization.
That's good.
Yeah, which, yeah, I mean, I hear reduce hospitalization about different prescription drugs, but yeah, this one also reduces death.
Wow.
Yeah. So check this out, guys. I was gonna have a little shot of Jaeger, and Scott had told me that there was a new shot glass on top of the Jaeger, and it's a Jaeger shot glass. He told me our buddy Gary brought this out here. I'm the only one that drinks Jaeger, so I guess he kind of brought it out here and left it for me to use. So I'm going to oblige him and go ahead and use it. All right. New Jaeger shot glass. Thanks, Gary. So, our buddy Gary that hunts out here had cut a little bit of firewood up by his house, and Scott brought it out here. So, we got a little pile of firewood. It's not cut to length, but me and Nick, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tag team that. Try to get it cut to length and get it in the woodshed. What's that? What's that? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I think that'll do her. That one there is pretty mushy.
Huh?
That one there is pretty mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That turned out to be a nice little load of firewood. Very happy. Gary was able to cut it up into longer chunks. Scott brought it out, and me and Nick cut it to size and got it in the woodshed. Awesome. So another cool thing about lighting the sauna last night, besides being able to enjoy it last night, is there's going to be some pretty decent warm water still in there today. And after a little firewood job, it'll be good to rinse off and put on some fresh clothes. Whew. All fresh again. All right, well, me and Nick just finished up some mowing and some firewood, and we're gonna kind of have a late afternoon lunch and head out on the water. But I was able to get a little cell phone reception and get a weather report, and it's like 90% chance of rain here in about an hour. So we're gonna kind of cancel this evening's fishing trip. Gotta cover up the boat. The wind switched around, hey Nick?
Yeah.
It's like, you could tell something's changing. It switched around from the south to the north. It's much cooler outside now. I mean, we were sweating
Yeah.
when we were doing all the work. It had to be all hot when we were doing the work.
Yeah.
But I guess that's maybe better than having to do it in the rain.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, yeah, because we haven't even eaten lunch yet or anything. So there was no way we could even attempt to hustle out there and even get a little bit of fishing in. But so we're gonna cover up the boat. I think you can see it's pretty hazy out right now, and that wind did switch to the north. And you said you noticed it, right? You can kind of smell like forest fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The air definitely smells weird.
Yeah, you can see the little bit of haze. It's I don't know how much it shows up on the camera, but it's not only cloudy out, you know, with that rain coming. It's also very hazy. You catch a little whiff of forest fire, and that's I'm sure those Canadian forest fires that are burning. They must have blown right across from Lake Superior all the way over to us. But yeah, so it really looks strange out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we got some stuff to occupy ourselves. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna have ourselves an awesome lunch here in a little bit, and we're gonna enjoy the evening either way. Right, Nick?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Flame broiled with the Savor Pro.
You're not having any buns?
No, I think I'm gonna skip the bun. Again, I'm gonna eat these like a fine steak. No bread to contaminate it. Maybe just a little salt. All right, so a little change of plans. Like I had said earlier, we got some weather coming in pretty soon. But it looks like it's holding off just a little bit. We had heard some thunder. Was getting kind of close, but now it's diminished. So I think we might be a little bit away from the rain right now. Anyways, we're gonna take a little walk. Got some game cameras up down over here. There's a beaver pond, and we've seen minnows in it before, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen minnows in it. We've actually trapped minnows out of it just to kind of see if we could, you know, identify something. See if there was maybe any kind of game fish in there, but it just seemed like chubs and spiny trash fish and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna take a walk. I got a camera on the beaver dam, and we brought some poles. You know, we're gonna take a few casts. Why not?
Yeah.
Some people think this side pocket on like work pants is like for a screwdriver or something, but it's actually for bug spray. Slides right in there. So you got it handy for a walk like this. So yeah, I mean, it'll take 10 casts to figure for me to either get excited or never do it again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I mean, yeah, and then, you know, remember that one time, you know, because we kind of got across that creek to get over to your blind,
Yeah.
which is part of this beaver dam system here. Remember there was a little bit bigger fish in that little creek. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was a few years ago now, but
Yeah.
and by bigger I mean it was like 5 inches, but it was certainly more than a minnow.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask, did we ever actually put a trap in the pond itself? Because I know we have like right around here.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But it's actually
I mean, it's the
it's
same.
the same
Yeah.
body of water. Man, I thought I had a hit on that cast.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I casted it right at that beaver lodge. Maybe it was a beaver.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
don't go too far. We might have to hoof it to not get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess do what you want. I was just going to take a few casts, but
Yeah. I mean, we could stop now. I'm good too.
it's up, you know. If you want
That's
to
kind of more
explore-
just looking at stuff
Yeah,
because not much is happening otherwise.
no, that's for sure.
It's a little bit of a balancing act
Oh yeah,
walking
yeah,
along
for
there.
sure.
But just a little clam.
Oh, you did find a clam, eh?
So
Yeah.
there's stuff in here.
Oh yeah, like I said, we've seen minnows before.
Yeah.
I just wonder if, you know, you get minnows maybe every year, you know, and only the dinkiest ones maybe survive. Maybe anything that grows a little bit, maybe it freezes out and it's not enough oxygen for fish when it gets a little bigger. I don't know. Like you say,
Who
usually
knows?
if you see minnows, like we trapped it that one time, and you know, and there was like chubs and those sticklebacks and stuff, so you'd think maybe, you know, you might get something a little bigger in here, but who
Yeah.
knows? I'll tell you what, the way the temperature is dropping, we might be lighting a fire yet tonight. I don't know.
Yeah.
Should probably think about cutting that birch down right there. It's not a leaf on it, it's all dead.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's just gonna fall across the road sometime. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right where it's leaning.
yeah, that's. Yeah, We'll take that down sometime. How do you like that rod and reel?
It's nice.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, it is. Super light, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't believe how light these setups are. Cast nice, lightweight. Yeah, pretty good deals. So this is pretty typical UP weather. The first night we stayed out here, we lit a fire. The second night, we had the windows open. We had a fan in that window right there trying to blow cooler air into the camp because it gotten so hot during the day. And yeah, and here we are the third night and we're lighting a fire again. So, typical UP weather. Yeah, the little weather report that we just heard on the radio said it's supposed to be down in the 40s tonight. So, you could tell it was chilling off already. It had started raining. Things had cooled down considerably, so no sense in getting chilly. I have been meaning to address these windows for several years now. We built this addition in 2017, and these windows, we got used, which I was very grateful to get these windows used, but they're kind of sticky. So I've just been meaning to try to add a little lube to them and make it so they don't stick as much. Sometimes you're fighting with them so much, I'm afraid we're gonna put our hand through it sometime trying to open them. So, see if we can help that out a little bit. Yeah. So, that made the world of difference. It's just stupid that I hadn't gotten around to doing that before. So, me and Nick are having our second meal of hamburgers today. We had them already cooked from earlier when we had lunch, our late lunch. But yeah, you can probably kind of see out the window. We definitely did get rained out tonight as far as the fishing. We took a little walk around the property, checked out the beaver pond, checked out some game cameras that I had up. We even took a couple rods with us, took a few casts in the beaver pond. I had never really fished it before ever. Wasn't expecting too much, but what the heck. So we got that in before it started raining anyways, so that was all right. And hey, I could probably eat hamburgers 3 times a day.
your dad and I were in the
See, Bob's got a Packer jersey on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mitch, you're as thin today as the day I married you. Both the ceremony and reception will be completely green and gold. In honor of the Packers.
Yes.
Classy, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Leo. And I'm also a Leo.
Yeah. Cameras from the 70s had flash cubes.
Oh.
Okay. They didn't actually have like a flash. There was this cube, and I think it would get a pulse of electricity, and there was actually like some kind of substance inside that would flash. It probably burned or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it would flash like a regular flash that you've seen does. But then that was it. You couldn't use it again. And the flash cubes would have like 4 sides. So you'd take a picture, and then as you'd advance the film, the flash cube would spin. So then the next one was up. And you could take another picture, flash, advance the film, and the flash cube would turn again. So you could get like 4 flash pictures out of a cube.
Technology.
Doesn't that just sound ludicrous?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I mean, you just, I got a camera in that bag where it's just like, I could sit there and take 100 flash pictures. Yeah, you could take like 4, then you'd have to pull the thing off. It was disposable, you'd pull it off, you'd throw it away, you'd have to put another one on top. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Wood stove's all set for tonight. All right, guys, here's a little deer camp outhouse tip for you. Got your toilet paper, right? Well, when you're storing extra rolls of toilet paper, keep them in something like this that's largely mouse-proof, especially the Packer tin. That is definitely mouse-proof, right? So that'll keep your spare rolls from getting chewed up by the mice. And then another tip, if you have any ladies coming out to your deer camp at all, it's always nice to have a stainless steel tampon and napkin dispenser available. So guys, we're buttoning up the camp, heading home, and I'm gonna shut down the inverter, disconnect the batteries, bring them home with us, of course. But man, I could not be more pleased with these Power Queen lithium batteries. I brought these 2 out here for this trip. We got a good solid, 3.5 days out of them. That's running the TV, DVD, all the lights. And one night we were even running a box fan because it was so hot in the camp. We were trying to bring some cooler air from outside into the camp. So we were using power, and these 2 batteries handled it, no problem. And I'm sure there's plenty of power to spare even. And guys, if you haven't experienced lithium batteries, they are super lightweight. Eat shark. Very good. So guys, if you're interested in more videos about getting out, and enjoying the great outdoors of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, be sure to check out the entire channel. And if you enjoy what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. And for bonus content, be sure to check out our Patreon page. A link to this page can be found in the description of this video. And also, guys, remember to hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. Thanks for watching, and God bless.